Wow.
Good
morning.
Why?
Why you have a wicked Jew curl?
You guys, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I mean, today it's flaring some, like, let's make it even more obvious. Have you guys ever seen, like, I have this Jew curl, and for some reason, like, as the week goes on, it just gets, like, more obnoxious everywhere. You've probably seen it in the videos, but I wanted to introduce you to the fancy Jew curl in the case that you didn't.
What's Jew curl's name?
We can find it a name. Type in the comments, how should we call it? Good morning for everybody who's joining us. Who do we have today?
Name that Jew curl.
Name that Jew curl. That should be today's topic name. Name that Jew curl. Jessica, Samantha Roberts, Teresa, Morgan, Lotfi. I just think about Lofty Coffee when I see Lotfi's name.
Lotfi, Jeanette, what's up?
Lotfi, what's your heritage? Nicole,
what's up? Tammy, Sammy,
Morning Boogeyman, of course.
Jen,
Abby,
Sammy, Abby, what's up, Abby? I was just thinking about you this
Jason,
morning, actually.
Carissa, Junalyn, Tammy, Beth, Stacy,
Morning,
Jen.
morning,
Good morning, you guys. So, how are we gonna call this Jew girl? I mean,
name that Jew girl.
I mean, here's the
I
thing.
think. Hold on, let it come to me. Silence. Josephine.
That's not a Jewish name, though Joseph is.
Don't you know that I make my own rules?
True. You want to call her Josephine?
Josephine the Jew girl. Yeah, it has a good ring to it, huh?
That does.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do we have any Josephines in the house this morning? I don't think so. All right, you guys. Good morning. Happy Thursday. You know, here's the thing. Like, I think we all have one embarrassing thing about us. And
you're
like,
only embarrassed by it if you're embarrassed by it.
Right. And you know what? I mean, I think when I was younger, it wasn't as bad, but it just keeps on getting, like, I think the more things I have to say, like, the more obnoxious it gets. So I'm just getting to a point where, I mean, I've always embraced it. But here's the thing.
Look at mine. Mine is like Cindy Lou Who from The Grinch. But we also missed our haircuts, like our hair appointments too. So things have gone a little wild.
Yeah.
Up on this bird's nest.
But we all have this one thing in our bodies or on
our face
that we're not, that is not acceptable to mainstream society.
To ourselves.
No, but so here's the thing.
I understand.
You should
influenced by.
Right, just because it's like not in society's norm doesn't mean that you shouldn't accept it.
Hold on.
What?
Can you guys hear us?
I think so. There's 32 people in the house.
Well, 2 people said that they can't hear.
Can we get a thumbs up if you can hear us?
Turn your volume up. Just kidding. I wonder if my headphones were like, okay. Have you been able to hear us the whole time? Because the beginning of this was fucking hilarious, and I really hope so.
Yeah, they can hear us.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, I think it's
What's
your
up,
phone
Christine?
or whatever. So before we get to today's topic, in the spirit of Josephine, the Jew girl, we all have this thing on our face or on our body that's just not like wouldn't fall under society's norm.
It makes us insecure for a reason, and it's because of what
and
we've
a
done.
lot of times we might feel insecure about it, but I think the best way to embrace it is to acknowledge it by making fun of it. Like Josephine the Jew girl, she now has a name. All of you guys are now going to, whenever we start a video, you're like, is Josephine the Jew girl there today?
Is Josephine coming today?
Right, and then with time, you're going to give a character and you're just going to accept it as is. I remember that when I was a kid, I kid you not, that mole that I have here on my face, I was so ashamed of it because I think I was the only girl in class who had a mole on her face. And I was like, something's wrong.
Can you see mine?
Like I wanted to just hide. Yeah,
you see
I
mine?
know. The first time I saw you, I noticed it.
This is beauty. Are you kidding me? Wow, especially when it grows hair out of it. Oh my God, sexy. Ooh. You know what? But yes, go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
So, I want to bring you into this. What is one thing that's either like on your body or on your face that's just like not accepted by mainstream? I want to know what it is.
This is totally not the topic, but this is such a great topic of just life.
I know, it really is.
Because when you learn, it's the art of embrace. It's easy to embrace things that are acceptable, that are nice, that are pretty, that are smart, that are fancy, that are expensive, that are whatever. It's easy to embrace certain things, but the art of embrace is embracing what's not easy to embrace, like a shitty hard workout, right? Embracing the pain that's being experienced for a desired outcome. Embracing something about yourself that you see as flawed or that society has shown you is flawed, right? And making something great of it. And I think that when you learn to embrace each piece of you, the only way people will... Okay, so step one, we all are judgmental. Visually especially, because the only thing that we see, or the only piece of information we have when we first meet somebody is visual. How do they look? What's their demeanor? What is their body language? Color are their eyes? Like what are their features? And this is how we remember people. So we're taking all of this in and we're making judgments. Are they bad or good? It doesn't matter. They're judgments, all of them, right? And based off of the way you see the world, you're going to judge people negatively or positively. Based off of whatever your experience has been in your life, right? If you see somebody with like ripped up, dirty clothes digging through the trash, you make an assumption that that person is homeless and maybe dangerous. I don't know, right? Or
maybe they're just a hustler who wants to provide more for their family.
Or if you were in the position that that person is, you might see them differently. I don't know. Right? Like family.
Right.
So it really is just like, if you can learn to embrace every piece of you, other people will also embrace those pieces of you. How many of you were like, oh my God, yeah, that's funny that Sarit's like making light of her crazy Jew girl when...
Her name is Josephine.
Sorry. But like, you then think that it's funny and more acceptable because she made it funny and acceptable. Right? And a lot of times the things that we're insecure or embarrassed about are things that every single person experiences. So when you make light of it, people respect you. And they have an appreciation for your ability to embrace, right? What's not easy to embrace.
I want to share with you guys a personal story real quick, and then we'll jump into today's topic. So, my disordered eating pattern started around the age of 13. And, at the time when I just you know, basically was on my anorexia journey, which was awful, right? Like genetically, it doesn't matter how lean I am, and I'm gonna stand up and show you, and I don't even care. And some of you guys might think I'm crazy, but I mean, I am, and that's okay. So like, I'm really lean, right? But I have like a tiny little, like, I can see comments, but like a tiny little bulge.
It's actually like really lean today. Like it actually flattered today, but there are times
I can't see it, but like see this like little bulge right here?
Yeah, nobody's gonna see because they're comparing you to them.
Okay, right. But no, when you're used to seeing something and when you have a standard for yourself, you know, like based off of your level of leanness, right? Like I always had that bulge in my lower belly, and when I was a teenager, it doesn't matter like how much basically fat I didn't have in my body, I had that, and I was so ashamed of it and frustrated with it to the point where every evening after I got done working out and before I got in the shower, I'd look at myself in the mirror naked. And I'll grab that piece of skin. Now that might be like a little too visual for you guys. And I would like pinch it. Like pinch it to the point where there were some days that I had blue marks there. Because I was so frustrated with it. I'm like, what do I need to do to make it go away? Right? So like we all have like pieces in our body or like things on our face that we just don't approve of because we are our own worst critics. I'm going to share with you, I want to share with them a quick story about Allie yesterday. Our client, Allie. Mm-hmm. She's awesome. And some of you guys, like if you were to see her, you'd say, wow, she's a bombshell, right? However,
I saw your picture the other day, Allie, too, and I was like, damn!
So she sent me a photo yesterday. She's coming up on her 12 weeks in her one-on-one program. And mind you, she's advanced. So, you know, her abs are starting to peek out. So she sent me a selfie. She's like, abs are, you know, really showing in. So I told her, wow, this is epic. Can I repost it? And she's like, let me send you another one because my hair is just a hot mess. I want to put it up. So I'm like, just so you know, like
I wasn't looking at
I was looking at the photo for quite a bit of time. I even told Erin, like, come look at this.
Yeah, I was like,
I did not even pay attention to your hair, just so you know. But you know, and then I told her that I'm like, isn't it funny, like how we like criticize ourselves so much, and so many times, like other people are not even like. They don't even care to see it.
They don't even notice until you point it out.
So now, if you didn't point out Josephine before, you're going to look out for Josephine every single time. And if you're just jumping in and you're like, who's Josephine? I'm like, listen back to the beginning of this video.
She's right there.
Yeah, she's always there. See, there's nothing I can do about it. Yep.
And Cindy Lou Who.
Okay, so you guys, today's Thursday. So
it only took us how many minutes to get to the topic?
It always happens, right? Like this is coffee conversation.
They gave us permission to tangent away, so.
Yeah. And by the way, when Erin makes me coffee, it tastes so much better than my own. Do you guys have that too? Like when somebody makes you coffee, like it's the same coffee, like brewed the same way. I don't.
But is it?
No, it's not.
I peed in it.
That's why it tastes so good. Okay, but Thursday, training Thursday. So today we have a training topic and it's going to involve soreness. So, you know, something that we hear very often is that a lot of times people...
Wait, can we ask them a question?
Okay.
How many of you give us an emoji flex if feeling sore after your workout means you did it? Good job. To you. Right? Like if you feel sore after your workout, like I crushed that. Good. Amazing. Baby blue ain't your color. Mama says is made with love.
Amen. Okay.
You
Well,
can
so
get
while
your
the
over it,
responses are coming in,
We got some flexes coming in.
a lot of times, you know, I hear that people are disappointed after they've completed their workout because they weren't like overly exhausted or fatigued, or they don't feel like basically like a truck ran over them and therefore they didn't do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, you know, there's this expectation, especially I would say in the running triathlon world, in the CrossFit world, that you need to be very sore after a workout, and if you're not sore, then you didn't do enough. So now let's talk about the biofeedback mechanism of soreness, like why the soreness happens in the first place, and then we'll talk about, you know, we'll just analyze you know, basically the alignment of soreness with the productivity of the workout. So soreness happens as a byproduct of lactic acid buildup within your workout.
In combination with the like micro tears that you get in your muscles. It's like putting lemon juice on a paper cut.
Yeah.
Right? And then you try to move and it's like...
So your muscles, right, are made out of tiny little fibers. It's almost like, you know, the pieces of hair, like Josephine, right? Like even one strand of hair, right? It is like your muscle. It's made out of like tinier, like microfibers, right? So as the muscles, you know, contract, it creates movement between, what is it called? The myosin and the, what's the other part?
Actin.
And the actin, right? Like they move.
They don't care what that means.
Whatever, but I'm just giving them a visual. They move like this, right?
Contract, stretch, contract, stretch. Stretch, contract, stretch, contract.
Yeah.
So they're like sliding along each other, and when it's stressed to a certain point, it creates little tears.
Yep. So micro tears are just a byproduct of activation and movement, right? Now, the more extreme it is, of course, the more tears happen, but also as a byproduct, in order to recover, right, once the muscle basically gets depleted of, you know, enough oxygen, right, it gets fed with lactic acid, so there's lactic acid buildup, right? So lactic acid... So lactic acid buildup is basically a response due to the activation of muscles. And it most likely happens when you activate your muscles in a way that your body is not used to it. So expect it to happen very often if you're just getting started on your journey. Expect it to happen very often if you're doing something new, like let's say you normally run and then you start lifting, you're really, really sore. Or also expect it to happen if you're learning a new move. For any of you guys who are doing the burn zone, when we started doing the handstands and like all the, you know, those inverted things, for some of you guys, your shoulders may have been really sore, right? And that's because it is a new stimulus that you probably haven't tried before. Okay, so now this is why soreness happens. It's just like a biofeedback mechanism to either new or a more extreme stimulus than your muscles are used to. Okay, now, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I want to add is going to be, man, we're going to have to get some different ones. These trucks are freaking crazy.
We're grateful for the sun.
Yes, absolutely. So, thank you. I think that what I'm thinking of is going to come with something probably that you're going to say in a little bit, but you know, it's your body's ability to flush the lactic acid. And if your body is unable to flush it out enough, then there's leftover, and then that compared with the tears that you have is what causes that like pain in your legs when you go to like sit on the toilet, right? When you try to stretch a muscle that has everything going on is what makes it sore. But does that mean that if you're not sore, your workout's ineffective?
Yeah, I want to get to that in just a second. So, what happens is because at the beginning of our journey, right, you're a lot more sore than you are, let's say, by the time you get you become intermediate, or by the time that you become advanced, right, you experience more frequent and more intense muscle soreness than you do once you are more advanced or more consistent, right?
Adaptation.
That's because our bodies are meant to adapt. But because at the beginning of our journey, we experience more extreme soreness at a more frequent basis, we go into our journey as we become more advanced or more consistent, having this expectation that we should feel that same amount of soreness because that's what we felt at the beginning.
Can I read some comments? Because we asked them. So I want to make sure that we're engaging you guys because thank you for answering the questions that we ask. Junalyn's in response to, is your workout ineffective if you're not sore? She said, no, I must not have used proper form. So we have an idea that if you're sore, it's because you didn't use proper form. Then Marnie says, no true. I think she means not true. But I do love the sore feeling. Lauren says, nope. There's a lot of flexes. So a lot of people do.
What's not true, Marnie?
That's about just because you're not sore.
Oh, got it.
Do you ever feel like you've had a good workout and you're not sore afterwards? Flex, yes. I always want to know about sweat as well. If I don't sweat as much, does that mean I didn't burn as much? That's a great question, actually. I tend to get more sore when I change things up. Once I get about 4 weeks into the program, not as sore. That's adaptation. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I love soreness in my core. Makes me feel solid. That's a really good point. Yep. It's a feeling.
That's exactly what
soreness
we're getting
is a
into.
feeling that makes us feel like we did something effective, right? I'm always sore, but I'm always dehydrated. So we have an idea that dehydration is what causes the soreness and not necessarily the movement. I sweat like a pig no matter what. Okay, so we'll move on now. I just wanted to make sure that we're getting kind of there.
So because at the beginning of our journey, we are more sore and our soreness is more intense and more frequent in general, as we become more consistent and more advanced, so we go into our journey with the expectation that we always need to be sore. Now, a lot of times people feel that because they ended a workout and let's say the next day they didn't feel sore, or maybe they're going through a phase in a cycle when they're not sore, they feel like they're not making progress because they don't feel sore. Mm-hmm. Now, know that for one, that's false, okay? Remember, soreness just means that there is a greater lactic acid buildup, which means that you're either doing more volume than you're used to, okay? You're either doing a greater load that you're used to, which required more motor units to get fired up and get activated through the movement, or you are increasing your threshold, right? So like for somebody who let's say if you're comfortable running a 5K and let's say tomorrow you were to go on a 10K, chances are that you're going to be sore because your muscles are going to contract a lot more often than you're normally used to, right? Let's say you're used to squatting 125 pounds, right? Like once you start squatting at a new weight, you're gonna get sore. So now also because of that, soreness is also a lot of times a biofeedback mechanism to progress. Now, because soreness happens when you're capable of doing more, a lot of times we think that if we haven't done more, then we're not improving. Well, that's a false expectation. What's going to get you better is consistency. However, soreness is a biofeedback for just a response from your body due to a stimulus. So now there's a couple of things that we have to consider here. For one, you don't have to be sore to have an amazing workout. You don't have to be sore. And the more advanced you get, the harder it is going to be for you to get sore, because your threshold is so high. So you can't expect your progress to be reliant based off of how you feel after a workout, right? You need to base it based off of the amount of action that you're taking within your workout, right? Like basically intensity, load, that's depending on what the goal is, right? And based off of the consistency, right? And then I had another point. Oh, so for one, you can't base it based off of how sore you get. And then for two, soreness is somewhat related to progress, but it's not the end all be all. And a lot of times what we see, and I will call this an amateur move, somebody feeling discouraged because they don't get as sore as they did before, so they think that suddenly they're doing something wrong. Now, some things to pay attention to in order to make sure that you have a better understanding of what a good program requires. For one, it all depends on your goal, right? It's all goal specific, right? So there is different elements to fitness, right? And we talked a little bit about it yesterday. There is endurance, there is strength, there is power, there is speed, there is agility, there is mobility, flexibility,
quickness, balance,
coordination.
Right?
Like, if you're working on coordination, probably the first 2 times that you're going to work on your coordination, you're going to be sore because you're activating motor units that are not normally used to be activated. However, right, as you become more advanced with your coordination, right, you're no longer in what we'll call the cognitive phase of a movement, like your body has adapted, you're not going to be as sore. Now, that doesn't mean that you should stop practicing coordination if that's your goal.
Just because it doesn't make you sore.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so for one, it's very goal-based. For two, in order to reduce, where am I going with that? I have so many thoughts in my head, you guys.
You want me to take over? In order to reduce.
In order to increase the efficiency within your workouts, you want to make sure to always provide your body with a new stimulus. So for anybody who's either doing the rise above or the burn zone, or if you're in the raw exclusive or the raw transformation, you know that every day the workout looks different. And guess what? For anybody who's almost finishing up the burn zone, are we going to come up with a program after the burn zone is done? Absolutely yes. Because if you keep on repeating the same workouts over and over again, your body's going to adapt, right? Your body's going to adapt and you're not going to get the same stimulus as you did beforehand. And that's why, for example, for like runners, right? Like unless they incorporate strength training or just like strength and conditioning, I would say, into their training, they will hit a cap because their body is only exposed to one stimulus. So they get really good at endurance, right? But if you don't focus on other areas around it, like especially if you're a runner, I would say flexibility and strength, then guess what? you're going to stall. You're going to hit a ceiling, right? And that's why it's all like these things are important, because a lot of people, for one, have a different expectation about soreness. You don't always need to be sore, but you always need to vary your workouts. Your workouts have to be constantly varied. Otherwise, you're going to hit a cap. That's why for anybody who's doing the rise above, you have to do yourself a favor and get the burn zone once you're done with it. Because otherwise your body is going to adapt and your results are going to stall. That's what happens. But here's the thing. You don't know what you don't know. And that's why we're telling you that. And that's why we keep on having all these programs, because your body's going to adapt. And if you want results, then you can't have your body adapt. And that's why, Jeanette, I'm going to bring up your name. I've been on you, and thank God you joined the transformation after months, because you kept on doing the same freaking workout. Like, when somebody's so dedicated, but they're giving their body the same stimulus, it's like, dude, you've plateaued. And you don't know what you don't know. And now she's doing the raw transformation, she's doing the burn zone, and it's no wonder why you are getting better results, because you're getting a new stimulus. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. You can, up to you now.
Okay, so the first question you need to ask yourself is, what are you training for? What are you working out for? What is the purpose? What is your intention of working out in general and of the workout you're about to do? Right? Have a purpose for it first, because it's going to guide you in the right direction. Then soreness is really just your body's ability to recover or not from whatever you did. So if you're not sore, that doesn't mean you didn't do a good workout. It also has to do with the number of reps that you're doing. Like you mentioned earlier, if you're used to squatting, I don't know what you said, 135 or something like that, 125, and you go up in weight, you might get sore, you might not. If you're only doing like 5 reps, you're probably not really going to get sore, because it's not a lot of repetition, right? It's not a lot of contract and stretch back and forth, right? It's 5 reps. Does that mean you can't get stronger? No, absolutely not. You can absolutely get stronger, right? And there's every variable has its purpose. How many reps you're doing, how much weight you're doing, how much rest you have, how many sets you do, right? All of these things, is it a superset? Is it a triset? Is it a circuit? Is it one thing? Is it one maximum rep? Is it, all of these things have a different purpose. And so that's why it's good to know the intention of your workout in the first place. And if you do have an intention, then you probably have a chunk of workouts, which we would call a cycle, right? Knowing your rest days, knowing your workout days, what you're doing on those days, what the purpose is. If you just want to sweat, great. Move your body until it starts sweating. You achieved. Does that mean you have to be sore? No, because your intention wasn't to get sore. Your intention was to sweat, right? So it's also, is my intention to get stronger? Is my intention to grow my muscles? Is my intention to get leaner? What are all of these answers to these questions, right? And so the thing that you always want to go back to is, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Now, challenge is not the same as soreness.
Unless you're a beginner.
Most likely, yeah. Yeah. Because like Sarit said, learning anything new, if it's enough of a new stimulus, you're going to get sore, even if it's not, you might not have even sweated during the workout, but you'll be sore. That's weird, right? So it's all of our, basically our perception or our expectations, again, of what's going to happen and the result that we're getting. You don't have to be sore for it to be a good workout. Sometimes when you're sore, it's actually not good, because your body just can't recover well enough, right? If you're doing the same workout all the time and you're always sore, you have a recovery problem.
You're probably not sleeping enough, not hydrating enough. That's another.
Or you're stressed in other areas or whatever, right? Now, if you're not sore, it could be okay, or it could mean that you've gotten complacent and you do need a new stimulus, right? Now, if you go to the gym and you do the same movements all the time. I know so many people who do this. I've worked in the gym for over 10 years. I saw so many people just come in and do the same,
shit.
Monday they do this, Tuesday they do this, Wednesday they do this. It's always chest and tries, back and bis, leg day, rest or cardio, and then arms and shoulders and whatever. And it's like, you're doing the same movements. You might increase weight a little bit, but if you're doing the same things all the time, your body is so smart that we adapt to these things very quickly. So you'll notice if you try to do a balance exercise for your first time, probably only take you 3 sets and you'll already notice that you're better. Not even from one day to the next, just from one set to the next. Our bodies are so smart, and so it requires constant, unique stimulus. Now, like I said, it can be different variables. It can be the number of sets, the number of reps, the amount of weight, the amount of rest, right? Different movement combinations, right? So all of these things can have a different impact on you. Now, I like to feel sore. I know I like to feel sore, but I don't let soreness determine whether or not I had a good workout. Because also
golden nuggets right there. Say it again.
I don't let soreness determine whether or not I had a good workout. You know in your mind if you had a good workout. Did it challenge you? Did it challenge you physically? Did it challenge you mentally? I think that the mental challenge is just as important, if not more important, than the physical challenge. Because a mental challenge from a workout can translate into mental resiliency in other aspects of your life. Business, relationships. Wow. Are you done? He's totally over here just out of his butt. He's air pooping. You need to go caca? You should go caca? Anyways. Yes, soreness does not determine whether or not you had a good workout. Your effort and the stimulus will determine whether or not you had a good workout, and based off of your intention. If your intention is like just to move, maybe you were already sore, but you're like, man, today's supposed to be a workout day, and I'm just like, I don't think it's smart because my body's so sore and whatever, and your intention is to move. Hopefully it won't make you more sore, which isn't going to help you. Right? So maybe the intention is just to do some yoga flow, right? You're not going to get extra sore from it. So, yeah, anyways, those were my pieces. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And mental challenge is almost, I would argue, even more important than the physical challenge within a workout. But if you're mentally challenged, you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to be physically challenged too.
Mm-hmm. Everybody wants a physical challenge when it comes to their workout, but only a few are willing to take the mental challenge. And the ones who will take the mental challenge are going to be the most successful ones, because your fitness is so much more dependent on your mental capacity than it is on your physical capacity. And also, the more advanced you get, the more you realize that you get better workouts based off of the conversation that you have in your head when you're really tired. If you're training the right way. Now, most people don't even know how to train, and that's a problem, but that's why we have this show, right? To teach you guys. I bet you that most people, I really hope that most of you guys who are in the room right now are doing one of our training workouts, because if so, you're working out with intention. If no, I can say that the 50% who are not doing our workouts, like some of you guys are working out with intention, but there's a few of you guys who I know are not working out with an intention. And that's also why you're not able to bring the mental component. Somebody who's not currently following our training program, like Mark Fleeg, for example, I know that he works out with an intention. But that's why also so many people are lost in their fitness journey, and they're inconsistent because they don't know why they're working out. They just have this assumption that working out will help them to lose weight. They don't know how to work out in an effective, fun, and safe way to help them lose weight. So they're just going through the motions. Man, when we're both personal trainers, we'll see the same people doing the same thing over and over again, like burning out the treadmill. I'm like, you look the same way that you looked 2 years ago. We have a problem.
Here's the thing though, in all fairness to them, we cannot judge what they want to achieve.
True.
But if I know what somebody wants to achieve and I see them not achieving it and doing the same thing over and over again, I feel sad.
If I see somebody with a beer belly or with a massive belly walking on the treadmill, then I know that you come in here because you want to lose weight.
You don't know that, but it's fair to assume that because that is what our experience has been time and time and time and time again, countless times. Right. So it's fair assumption. However, we can't say what somebody wants just by looking at them. We can say that what we would want if we were in their position, but we're not them. So there's that. But in all fairness, like...
Thanks for bringing it up,
Yeah, but the amount of times that we've seen and heard what people want and what they do to get those things, it's a fair assumption, but we can't say that it's 100%.
So just a few things to wrap it up. You know, ask yourself, what is my intention of working out? Like, you need to get very clear on that, especially if you don't have a coach. And then you need to figure out whether whatever you're doing right now is in alignment with your intention. And that's why most people get suboptimal results, because for one, they don't know why they're doing it, so they don't keep doing it. The most important thing is consistency. I don't care what you do, be consistent. That's why Jeanette was still in an amazing shape, where her workouts, sorry, but not sorry, were shitty. Because she was consistent. Consistency is the most important thing.
I wouldn't say they were shitty, they just became ineffective.
And inefficient.
After a certain
and not
time
fun.
period, yeah.
Right? Like, they weren't really serving her, but they served her mindset because she was consistent. Right? And that's why
she developed discipline.
Right. Have an intention and figure out whether the workouts that you're doing are in alignment with that intention. If you're not sure, then guess what? You need to get help, because otherwise you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, and maybe even wasting your money if you're paying for that program, right? Like, you are in this group, you're listening to us right now because you want results. And we want to help you get results, and that's why we're teaching you these things. So you will know what questions you need to ask yourself in order to get yourself on the right path. Otherwise, what's the point of watching these videos? To just be a bystander? You're not a bystander. Now, lastly, know that soreness is in full alignment with your ability to recover. For example, the most elite athletes are probably like, their soreness is, for one, it requires so much more work in order to be sore, right? Because of their efficient ability to recover, right? And
based off of constant new stimulus.
Right. And two, like, they need to challenge themselves with more new things in order to get better. Again, the concept of new stimulus. So in order for you to get better, you need to just become more efficiently recovered. That's all. Right? So soreness is 100% in alignment with recovery. Some people might be really fit and like barely sore. You know, like, for example, yesterday I had a hard ass workout, but I'm not sore today. That's because I've been training consistent enough, and my ability to recover is extremely efficient. I also supplement myself and live a lifestyle and sleep a certain amount of time that allows me to recover. Right? So know that you don't always have to be sore to have an amazing workout. However, you have to understand what soreness is an indicator of. Some people are sore like from barely doing anything because they're so poorly recovered.
Like, or just so new.
Yeah.
Both. But yeah. So yeah, you don't need to be sore to have a good workout. However, you do need to be challenged.
If you want to keep on getting better, and that's why you have to constantly vary your workouts and make sure that your workouts are in alignment. And that being said, speaking about elite athletes and their ability to recover, tomorrow we have the pleasure of interviewing an Olympic track and field athlete, Miss Georgianne Moline. Remember, guest interviews on Fridays run at 6 a.m. Pacific time, and we're going to be doing this through Zoom. You guys, this is an Olympic athlete. Like,
Legit Olympic athlete. Look her up. Georgianne.
Yeah, look her up. We're going to make a post later, you know, for anybody who likes to listen to athletes and what they have to say, like, or knows people who do, always like invite those people, so that, you know, you'll be able to learn from them. Like, you know, in order to make it to the top 0.1%, it requires like a serious like mental game and a serious will and dedication. And she has so many good things to say, and that's why we reached out to her. And thankfully, you know, we'll have the pleasure of, you know, sharing what she has to say to you guys. So we will post the Zoom link later this evening and also tomorrow morning. But remember, we start at 6 a.m. Pacific time. Okay?
Crystal, can you post that question as a post on the wall? Because I think that that's something that a lot of people could benefit from, and we'll answer it, and then, you know, people can see that answer and benefit from that as well. That would be amazing. And Judy, so glad that you are finding progress within this. That's all we can hope and ask for. You guys, if you loved this, you know what we're going to ask you. You know, if you think that somebody else will benefit from this, or, you know, if you just want to share the love, click the share button, put on your social media, tag your friends, email it, whatever. That's all we ask you guys to do. And the more people that show up, the better we will continue to show up. So you had something else, I feel like.
Yeah, and if you aren't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please be sure to do so.
Yesterday we were at 777. I took a screenshot. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Road to 1,000.
I want to be at 7777.
Hell yeah. We'll get there.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have yourself a beautiful over the hump day. I know what day it is today.
Josephine.
Say goodbye to Josephine, the Jew curl.
You will see her tomorrow. She'll be live and up and early for tomorrow's interview. Yes, she'll be joining us too.
You guys rock. Thank you so much for everything. Have yourself a beautiful day. And we will see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific time, 30 minutes earlier. There will be a link in the page to click to watch the Zoom, and we will see you there. Bye.
Bye, guys.